Well, welcome to our discussion series about clergy family life. I'm Matt Stevens from Australian Clergy Families, and today we'll be looking at the clergy family home. First of all, a little bit of information about the research we've done. We wanted to understand what life in an Australian clergy family was like, to build on the community understanding of their experiences. So we ran a qualitative online survey interviewing clergy spouses and adult clergy children from Australia, which asked the question, does ministry affect the families of clergy members? We focused on three key areas. They were the home environment of the clergy family, their ministry context, and how they were supported. We were aiming for around about 30 respondents and instead received 281, of whom 83% completed the survey to the necessary standard, which has helped us form a clearer picture of what life is like for clergy families. So who is involved? Results from these discussions came from a fairly even split of spouses and children, with predominantly women, but also some men, participating from each cohort. Respondents ranged from 18 to 80 years old. On average, spouses were 47 years old and children were 37. A broad range of denominations were represented, including Anglican, Presbyterian, Methodist, Baptist, Church of Christ, Christian Reformed Church, and Uniting. As we take a closer look at the way that ministry affected the lives of clergy spouses and children from around Australia, we start with the clergy family home. We wanted to understand if clergy family homes were used for ministry activities, and found that 95% of homes were, with 86% used on a weekly basis. Surprisingly, given the more recent movement to separate work and private life, and variations in how different denominations approach church life, there was no difference between the number of uses per week from respondents from different generations or different denominations. We also wanted to find out in what ways the clergy home is used for ministry. 96% of respondents told us that the home is generally used for more than one type of ministry activity. The most common ministry activities were Bible study, counselling sessions, prayer groups, and youth groups. The majority of spouses and children also stated that their home was used more for ministries than it was for ministry preparation. Ministry preparation itself often included church meetings and ministry training events. Hospitality was primarily in the form of the clergy family providing meals, hosting church social events, and being prepared to receive unexpected visitors. Interestingly, not everyone was able to outline every activity that happened at their clergy family home, so they ended their explanation with etc. With so many ministry activities being held in the clergy family home, we asked what clergy spouses and children felt about this use of their home. As you can see, spouses and children felt that this use of their home was a positive, negative, acceptable, or mixed experience, with mixed experience being a combination of one or all of the other three. Spouses were more likely to enjoy a positive experience of ministry in the home than children. And of those who had a mixed experience to the ministry in the clergy family home, spouses most frequently had a mix of positive and negative experiences, where children mostly had a combination of negative and acceptable experiences. So finally, we asked spouses and children if they would change how clergy family homes were used for ministry. Almost 75% of respondents felt that how clergy family homes are used for ministry needs to change. 10% of respondents believe that clergy family homes should not be used for ministry purposes at all, and 4% wanted homes to be used more. Two issues that were raised were preserving the confidentiality of those who visited the clergy family home and the privacy of the family while ministries are happening. Now, some of the changes recommended were positive changes for one community, some were positive changes for the other. Clearly, it was a common priority, though, to ensure that there was a separation of ministry spaces and family spaces to ensure that both could be happily maintained. The list also included other suggestions such as home maintenance and financial assistance. These recommendations represent a sense that clergy families want to find appropriate ways for the clergy home to be used for ministry, to benefit both themselves and church members, particularly ensuring that family privacy and professional confidentiality can be maintained. One important note is that not all of these recommendations might be needed, but they are a guide that clergy families have recommended to us. It's important to keep having conversations about how clergy family homes can be used so that changing seasons of church and family life can be accommodated. It may be that if some of these ministries are not possible in the clergy family homes, that alternative arrangements may need to be made. Respondents provided us with 9 of these recommendations to tackle these concerns and others. Separate hosting area for ministry activities. Now, both spouses and children felt that it was important that ministry use of the clergy family home was possible, particularly through the provision of a separate hosting area for ministry activities. Church respecting family choices about ministry home use. Again, both spouses and children also told us that it would be a positive change if their choices about how clergy family homes were used were upheld by the church community. Permission from the church to choose ministry home uses. This could include routine discussions about which ministries suit the family, the home, and the church. Home used for social activities, not formal church ministries. The clergy's office outside of the home in order to enable family privacy and professional discretion. Family time prioritised over ministry at home. The clergy home being adequately maintained and secure. This is particularly relating to churches in less safe areas. Children notified of home use in order to help clergy kids to enjoy and prepare for ministry activities. And financial provision for ministry activities. That is, sharing the hospitality costs associated with ministry, particularly social activities, to reduce the costs on the clergy family budget. If there is one takeaway message from this group, it would be that appropriate separation of ministry and family is crucial to the clergy family home being used. And if this isn't possible, it may be necessary to look at alternative arrangements. Now, is this how things are for your church community? Is this how things are for your clergy family? We've included 6 questions that you can chat about after this as part of our discussion series. In our next video, we discuss the ministry in the church with all its joys and challenges for clergy families.